Sorry for interrupting you there. Orbs and Cape of the Onion name better do. It's true. Okay. How's this? Okay. Monitor. There we go. How's it going? How's it going? Hi, Schwinn. Hi, Yazoo. How y'all doing? Okay. Yeah, so we are continuing work on the Pikmin idle game today. So you can see what we've got so far. We got all the Twitch interactions set up. We got all the Pikmin wandering around. They automatically harvest all of the sprouting pellet posies. So yeah, it's basically something that exists. Throw it up on stream. It has been hurting for a few days, so I think I may be getting sick. That does sound like you're getting sick, and I'm sorry. That sucks. Oof. Yeah, stay plenty hydrated. Rest up. Try not to talk too much. Hopefully that should help. What's this about? Yeah. Alright, just gotta work ping. Probably not important. Okay. And now I said I feel like I can't breathe too, so that's fun. That's not great. Sounds like your airway's probably clogged then. I would definitely see if you can find some like hot tea or some other warm fluid that could help clear out your airways. And definitely sit up straight so you're not putting too much pressure on it. But yeah. So I think today I want to mostly focus on adding a little bit more variety, more enemy types, improving the combat some maybe. Hello Sugi, how's it going? How's it going? Ugh, I am out of it. I hate it. A little bit dizzy. Doing best to set up straight, but your chair disagrees. Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, so currently we just have the dwarf bulborb and the large bulborb. So I think it'd be good to find some other enemy type that'll add a different dynamic. Excited for a calc diagnostic exam? Oof. Man, I do not miss education. But good luck with your studies. Good luck with your exam. I believe in you. You got this. Heckin' cheers. Alright, let me hide. What did I just do? I should really lock down all these browser sources so I can't keep dragging them around by accident. Okay. Let me hide the game for a minute so we can work on stuff. And get these spreadsheets opened up so we can edit them. Oh yeah, and I did take that note from last time. Thanks for the hydrate, Yazoo. Speaking of hydrating, I should also hydrate. Yeah, it has been a very messy weekend. I've not had a whole lot going on, but I still managed to stress myself out and not sleep very well, but you know, it happens. Okay, yeah, so we got the bulborbs, which are basically the same, and of course we've got higher variants of bulborbs that we can introduce later. But for now, let's find some other enemy type. So potentially one of these guys, I'm thinking. It'd be kind of fun to start adding in some elemental effects, make our red Pikmin even more OP than they already are. So if we do some of the blowhogs, I keep looking over my other monitor. I don't need to. I got it mirrored on both sides. So let's start setting up the sprites for them, and then we'll go back in and do the code. How are we going to do the fire effect? We'll figure it out. Let's see, do we have any fire sprites in here? Oh, the sprite art is so cute. I agree. Thanks to the people who worked on it. I'll need to put these credits somewhere. Minecraftfire.gif. There you go. Now I was thinking that we do have bomb rocks, so I could potentially just take these sprites, the ones where it's already exploded, and just animate those real quick. It won't be the best looking, but it's good enough. Okay, do I need to reset the grid? Yeah, sure do. Sounds good to you? Alright. It's good enough for you, it's good enough for me. Yeah, 32 by 32. Nice magenta lines. I know there's a way to set the defaults on this. I need to figure that out later. Just in case you can hear it on your side, we don't have music. We do not have music. I forgot. Thanks, Yazoo. Let me find a playlist to pull up. I should really just download the Pikmin soundtracks. By what I mean by that is, of course, I need to buy the official CD release of the Pikmin OST. So I've listened to it enough at this point. So I'm usually during the intro scene, I figured it could have kept going on your side. Now I try to time them so at the end when I switch scenes. Here we go. Remember, kids, copyright evasion is bad. Don't do it. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. There we go. Yep, desktop audio is playing, so you should hear it. Let me know if it's too loud or too quiet. Okay.
Galactic date 20XX.
Oh, that's right.
At the
Starts
far
with the
space.
prologue. Skip that. Okay. So let's follow the same arrangement as the others. So first we got the walking down frames. Move these down a little bit further. Maybe just a bit loud. Okay. Easy to fix. There we go. It might be too quiet now, I don't know. And it's fine. Not really the focus of the stream anyway. I've sometimes felt a little conflicted about streams like this where there's no like in-game audio. Like, should I even have music playing? Because then other people can just go and listen to their own music. Fine for you, so you have to wait for someone else to complain. Fair enough. So I could just play the music on my side, and you guys can just, if you want to have music in the background, you can play it or not, but... I don't know. I'm overthinking it. It's like university professors do not look up the bibliography for this course at the specific link I'm sharing. I love this. I love the quiet little rebellion against paid journals and textbook companies. Brings a smile to my face every time. Imagine not overthinking things. Never done it before. Overthink everything. So now we got down, up, right, left. These guys have fewer walking frames because their walking is so simple. So you don't need quite as many frames as we did for the bulb orbs. Make this a smaller sprite sheet. I gotta line it up so the center point is the same in each case, so they look like they're still centered as they walk. Okay, and then they'll just be symmetrical, so we can just flip these for both directions. Let's go ahead and set the left side up while we got it here. Kind of centering it on their mouth on that axis, and then kind of at the curve of their body on the vertical axis, so that should be fine. That looks about center of mass. I'm going to space these out. Line it up with their eyes, I guess, here. So that looks about center. There we go. And then for the other side, we just flip these around. There are probably better editors for doing sprite art specifically, but I know GIMP, so that's what we're using. Okay, and we line this up, we're going to flip this around because I want the standing frame to be the first one. And then the other walking sprites on the other side. So that way, if we ever go back in to make it so that they can stand still, we can just have all of them just use the first frame of the animation. There we go. I think we've been pretty consistent about that, yeah. First frame is always just standing still. Right now we just let everyone always walk all the time because that looks good enough, but it's something we could change later. Layer to image size, there we go. Get rid of that invisible padding on the side because we were dragging stuff around. And then we've been adding attack frames in most cases, so let's do that here. Gonna turn on grid snapping. So in this case, the attacking animation will just be one frame of them standing still. Because the animation will be the fire, and we'll handle that separately. So let's start with this. We'll implement their fire next, but let's just get the enemy themselves to show up in game. Okay, so let's start setting up the sprite data. What is this, Fiery Blowhog? Yeah, okay. I did remember the name correctly. Had to Google it real quick. Let's put this after the Bulborbs. Yeah. Fiery Blowhog. And then we got the 4 directions, as well as a corpse, and then the attack animation as well. Okay. So that goes down, up, left. Is it right then left? It's right then left. Okay. So let's grab our coordinates in the sprite sheet. So down starts at 0 on the x-axis, 128 on the y-axis. Or 1280 rather. There we go. And it's 64 by 64 pixels. The offset from the top left of the sprite to the pivot point, the center point, should be half the width and height, so 32, 32. And then frames per second, fresh frames. How many frames of the animation do we have? We have 3 walking frames. Simple enough. And then for the walking frames, it looks like generally we've put 10 for the FPS, so let's start there. You can always adjust as needed. And then the others are going to be basically the same because they're going to have the same dimensions, same width and height, but their starting point will be different because they're in different rows on the sprite sheet. So this one is at 128.0. This one is at 1344. And then we'll just keep going up by 64 each time. This one's at 1408. Keep looking at the other monitor. I don't need to be doing that. This one's at 1472. Okay, there we go. That should be all of our attack frames. Sorry, walking frames. And our attack frames are going to be similar. And Fire Blowhog attack. Difference is there's only going to be one frame of this animation. So I'll set that just one frame. And then the Y coordinates should already be right because they're all in the same rows. But they're over a couple columns. So we just need to shift the X coordinate over to 192. And all of these. There we go. And then we just need the corpse sprite for when they die. Boyo! Thanks, Yazoo. So for that, we've been just adding another frame to the right direction and flipping it upside down. That's good enough for now. So let's stick that there. Flip vertically. Cool enough. Good enough. And let's grab the coordinates for this. Is that... So I haven't watched the other VODs. Using the animation framework or using the bare web API in your own systems? Yep, this is all just the HTML5 Canvas API. No libraries, no frameworks. We're just making this up as we go. So I do have some abstractions that I've set up myself, but no libraries or engines. Powered by Hawk. Exactly. Okay. This is 1408. So let's just copy this right attack frame, because it's one sprite over from that, and then we just offset the horizontal. Fire Blowhog corpse. Oops. Corpse. So 1408. 256 on the x-axis. And of course there's only one frame. There we go. And then we can set up our normal boilerplate mapping down here. So fiery blowhog sprites. Walk sprites. That's what we're doing. Mapping of directions to sprite definitions. So like there's an overview of the whole thing to the right. Yeah, the what do they call it? I think they call it like the mini map or something like that. And it's pretty fun. I know a lot of times I will remember where I am in the code, like visually. Like I know, well, all this section looks like this kind of shape of this indented thing with all these brackets. And I know that the top part of the file is all of these just copied and pasted versions of this sprite definition over and over. So I can be like, oh, let me just scroll through here until I find the part where the kind of overall look and feel of the code changes. That must be this section now. So it helps for like visually bookmarking where you are. Kind of silly, but it does help more than you would think. Okay, sprites, fiery blowhog, up. Hoyo! Hello, Carrick. How's it going? How's it going? Fiery blowhog down. Just get all the directions. This part is a little bit repetitive, and we probably could have gotten away without having to do it if we had more of a convention for how our sprites were set up, but this was convenient when we started, so I'm just going to keep going with it. Doesn't take that long to set these up. Fiery. I keep misspelling fiery. Blow hot. Yeah, okay, I spelled that right the first time. Direction, sprite definition. Sprites, fiery blowhog attack, up, down. Fiery blowhog attack, down. This is how you end up with carpal tunnel if you're doing this enough. Not quite there yet. My left hand is starting to have issues, unfortunately. Okay, there we go. So our walk sprites are attack sprites, and we also need one for the corpse. Fiery blowhog. And we don't have an entity type for fiery blowhog yet. But now that we got the sprites all defined, I think that's where we'll go next. So we're gonna add a new type of entity to our list of all possible entities in the game. I have fiery blowhog as an option. We have each one a unique number to indicate the entity type, so we can tell them apart easily, and so the engine can tell them apart. That's the more important one, really. Okay. Although we currently have any changes to any of the other objects here, but we do need to define our new monster type. Fiery blowhog is a monster. Borrows from the base monster type. But we don't have any special properties on it either. So most of these are empty, but it's convenient for reference. Okay. And it is a type of monster. And do we have a separate list for entities? We do. Yeah, so it is also a type of entity. So I'll add those to both of those type lists. Gonna be lurking for a bit, have fun. Alright, take care, Yahazu. Hope you feel better. Okay. What's he complaining about? Oh, extra equal sign. I refuse? Fair enough. I can't tell you what to do. Or I can, but you don't have to listen. I guess that's the more important thing. Okay, so now that's been added as a monster type. Let's check our main code here. Downside to this approach of not using any modules or libraries is we end up having 1,000 lines of code in one file, but, you know, this is what it is. Okay, is there anything in here we have to change specifically for fiery blowhogs? We do need a spawn function for them, so let's go ahead and add one here. We're gonna just copy the bulb orb. We can also make more module files, yeah. Could split this up, but specifically we can't use actual imports because then that turns the whole project into a module project, and that causes issues with loading it on OBS. OBS doesn't support modern ES6 packages, unfortunately. But we could physically move the code into separate files. Yeah. Yeah, it's unfortunate. I could use a bundler and not actually use any proper ES6 modules, just use, you know, like Webpack and concatenate it all into one big JavaScript file internally. But I wanted to do this project mostly bare metal. So, no packages, no imports. Yeah. For serious projects, I will absolutely go all in and set them up properly with bundling and everything. But for this one, I wanted the code to be easy to follow and understand. Not that I can really open source it because the subject matter, but, you know. So a bundler does make it more complicated. Yeah, I mean, I'm well used to using bundlers professionally, so like it's not much more complicated for me to do it, but it's more complicated for people to follow, I generally find. So for little personal projects where I just started from a single empty file, figured it'd be more fun to do it this way. Alrighty. So spawn fiery blowhog. There are probably ways we could make this more generic in the future, but for now, we're just going to keep doing it the way we've been doing it. No need to abstract it more than it needs to be at this stage. Okay, so let's look up our fiery blowhog stats on the Piclopedia. Oh. There we go. Fiery blowhog. And we've generally been pulling from Pikmin 3 and 4 stats, whichever makes more sense. I kind of do like how they're more threatening in Pikmin 2, though, so I think I might go with Pikmin 2 stats here. For the most part. Okay, so their health is 1,000, just like a full-size Bulborb. They do take a while to kill, so that checks out. Okay, their weight is 7. They do have a ghost when they die. Their carry limit, does it list that here? Yes. 15. Their carry radius, that'll depend, but that's usually half the sprite size. So for these guys, it was like 32, because they're huge. These guys are quite a bit more narrow. Let's say that's like about 32 pixels across, so let's say 16. And how many seeds are they worth? Bucko seeds. There we go. 8. Works for me. You try to do everything as abstracted and optimized as possible first time, you let up never doing anything. Exactly. Like, I could and would enjoy spending just an entire day doing nothing but refactoring this to remove duplicate code. Like, that's honestly a really fun exercise for me, but it's not very exciting to watch. So here we are. Big proponent of prototype refactor. Yeah. It's a good workflow most of the time. Sometimes you end up prototyping in ways that make refactoring very difficult to do. But I'm usually pretty conscious about that as I'm working. Always keep in mind, oh, when we refactor, this is where we're going to do that, so don't do anything that's going to be too weird here. Okay, so we have this module for eating. But this is where fiery blowhogs become weird, because fiery blowhogs do not eat Pikmin. They don't just go up and munch up a group of Pikmin and move on. So we're going to null that out. We're not going to buy into any of the eating process. We're going to need to invent a secondary attack system for fiery blowhogs and other similar monsters that isn't directly eating Pikmin. But they are not peaceful. They are monsters that attack. So there we go. I think that's everything we need to spawn the fiery blowhog. Let's see. Do we have any other special logic we need in here? Deadlines are always important too. Things like this works but shouldn't, figure it out later. Yep. In general, I tend to not comment probably as much as I should. I generally reserve comments for situations that are particularly weird, that I know when I'm coming back to it, I'm not going to be able to figure out without extra context. Usually for personal projects. For like professional projects, I comment a lot more because I have to work with a bunch of other people on it. But yeah, usually when I use comments, it's like, okay, this line of code has to work this way because if it doesn't, this API does not function. So you have to leave this intact. That sort of thing. But I generally try to just name things so that the code is relatively self-explanatory to myself. I know it's not going to be self-explanatory to other people necessarily, but if it's a project that's mostly just for me, I only have to worry about my own readability. Okay, anyway, creature speed. So we got our speed for our Bulborbs. And I have to code I comment the heck out of it, because otherwise when I go back in, I won't know what I did. Makes sense, makes sense. Yeah, I generally am able to reverse engineer my own code structure, basically, from looking at it. I'm finally done. My code peppered with to do. Yep. This is why I usually keep a separate to-do file, because I know if I just scatter them throughout the codebase, I will never remember to look at them again. So generally I leave important to-dos in a file at the root of the project. And that's usually the first thing I look at when I open up a project again. I also sometimes document like high-level architecture if I'm trying to like work it through in my head and I just need a place to note my thoughts. Okay, so for creature speed, we've got our pellet posies, which are technically coded as enemies because they're killable, but they have a speed of 0. Dwarf bulborbs and regular bulborbs we currently just have with a speed of 1. Fiery blowhogs, I feel like generally they don't chase Pikmin very much, so they probably have a lower speed. Unfortunately, the Piccolopedia doesn't have any of that documented. And we can keep going out here. Only kind of want to do ugly hacks that I know I won't be able to understand 2 weeks from now. Makes sense, makes sense. So let's say they move at like half the speed. Okay, so this code is starting to get a little bit ugly, so I want to clean it up a little bit. As far as monster types, at least. It's even a good way to do that. Yeah, okay. Entity map. It's a partial record mapping of entity types to numbers, which are speed values. So now we can do this thing where we can just say if it's an entity type bulborb, it'll be 1. The dwarf bulborb will also be 1. It's a fiery blowhog. It'll be 0.5. And if it's a pellet posy, it'll be 0. So this, we'll do basically the same thing here. We'll just say value is the entity map, and we look up the entity's type. And if the value is not undefined, meaning we did find a result in that map, then we return that value. If we didn't find something, then it would continue on to the rest of the code, which will ultimately return 1. Data structure feels good, man. Yep, exactly. Now, we could have set speed as a property directly on the monster, and honestly, that might not be a bad idea. So maybe that's really the answer here. But we'll leave it as is here for now. Okay, so in JS undefined. Undefined isn't that scary once you get used to it. As long as you're strongly typing everything, so situations where something could be undefined are clearly delineated. Like if we look at the value here, it knows this could be a number or undefined. Because when we're looking up in this record, we know that it could be missing that entity type key. Just don't like nullable types. I don't mind nullable types as long as the code forces you to deal with them. So like, look at this. If we didn't do that, if we just say return value, now this whole function says it could return number or undefined. And then it says, oh, well, when you're multiplying by creature speed, object is possibly undefined. This doesn't work. So, because TypeScript is very helpful, it has protected us from potentially causing random undefined and null errors when the code runs. And we didn't even have to explicitly say, hey, this could be a number or it could be undefined. We could do that too, that would also work, but TypeScript is smart enough to just deal with it without us having to explicitly spell it out for it. I always feel weird trying to defend TypeScript, because like, yeah, okay, JavaScript sucks, but TypeScript, like, prevents you from doing almost any of the mistakes that JavaScript allows you to do. And as a result, you end up with, like, all the flexibility of JavaScript without almost any of the issues that the JavaScript causes. So I just really love TypeScript. Don't know what else to say about it. Okay. Yeah, so we also have to get entity text offset. So that's how far up we display the little labels above the enemies indicating who spawned them. So currently I think it's generally been kind of an arbitrary number, but based on the sprite size. Fiery blowhogs are the same overall dimensions in terms of sprite boxing as the large bulborbs, but they are visually much shorter. So we want probably something in between a dwarf bulborb and a full bulborb. Let's say 24 pixels. We can adjust that if it doesn't look right. Easy enough. Pikmin damage, yeah, it doesn't affect monsters. I mean, it does, but not that way. Okay. Got our onions. And let's code in a loop to just spawn in a few fiery blowhogs just for visual purposes, or testing purposes. We'll add a redeem for them later so chat can spawn them in. I'll just hard code in a little display name so we can test that. My problem is a good nullable type, forces you to deal with the null as you said, and lets you cascade operations as long as you deal with the possible null at the end. So I hate Java's null pointer exception. Yep, that is a good point. So we absolutely could do that here, right? Because we could return undefined here. And then, yeah, okay, it says, oh, object is possibly undefined. So we say, well, in this particular case, if this is undefined, if we can't find a creature speed, it's okay if we fall back to 1. So we just do a little null cascading to say, okay, if this is null or undefined, use 1 instead. Now the code runs again. And if we didn't want to do that, then we could potentially say, if speed was null or undefined, we could return early from this function as well. But easier just to deal with it down here. There we go. So yeah, very powerful stuff. So unfortunately with code, you end up doing a lot of code writing before you actually get to see anything on screen. I feel like that's a major barrier to people learning how to program because all of this text just looks like nonsense until you've learned the language well enough to read it. I haven't really figured out how to get around that for people, but it is what it is. Okay, so let's go ahead and implement our Fiery Blowhogs sprites. So this is the code that actually draws all the sprites to the screen. It loops through all the entities in the world, and depending on their entity type, renders them. If we were doing an object-oriented setup, then we'd probably have a draw function on each class that would draw itself. But we're doing functional programming here. Solution is declarative programming, that too. I mean, we're largely abstracting how the sprites draw to these sprite definitions, rather than having logic in each single one of these to be like, oh, if you're facing left, use the left sprite. If you're facing right, use the right sprite. You got that partially abstracted here, and it could be even more abstracted given time. But for now, we're largely copying and pasting these because it's easy enough. So currently we have this, if command type is eat, we use an attack sprite, but we don't have an attack for Fiery Blowhogs right now. So I'm gonna change this to, instead of eat, attack. And we haven't set up that command yet, but we'll get to that. We need Fiery Blowhog attack sprites. Otherwise, we use the same logic. We look up the right attack sprite to use based on the direction that it's facing. We draw that sprite. Fiery Blowhog walk sprites. If we're not attacking them, we're walking, so we use the walk sprite. There we go, easy enough. Actually, we'll circle back to that so the code will run. So currently it checks if it's eating. They don't know how to eat, but it's fine. Okay. Bum bum. Okay, so let's pull the game up. There we go. So we got our fiery blowhogs on the field. I'd say that walking animation looks fine. Yeah, but all the other redeems should work, so you should be able to spawn nectar or pop out the bulbs. So as you saw there, the fiery blowhog didn't eat anything because it doesn't. We told it didn't have an eating function, so it just ran towards the Pikmin and then just let itself get attacked and died. It never reacted. Let's pluck all the seeds here. There we go. They can drag the blowhog as expected. Looks kind of funny with so many Pikmin on it. Just like me, for real. Mm-hmm. Now we got a bunch of blue seeds on the field. We can pluck those as well. Yeah, so the blowhogs will run towards the Pikmin, but when they get there, they just do nothing. So we're going to add an alternative to eating, that instead of directly trying to eat the Pikmin, it will use some kind of attack. That doesn't directly harm the Pikmin, but has some other special effect. And it's likely that we'll have to implement that differently for different types of enemies, but I think it's a safe bet that a lot of enemy types just emit some kind of elemental particle in some direction. Thank you, Garrick. So we'll see how we can make this generic enough to apply to other enemy types as well. Okay, so there we go. So we see that that's how it works. So let's figure out how we're gonna handle this. Thanks to the hydrate, Carrick. Yeah, sorry, Suki. That's why I have the points rewards so cheap. So hopefully it doesn't feel as bad when you can't use them. Took too long. Yep. Rest in peace. Now it should leave that in the queue because the way it's currently set up is it does go to the rewards queue on Twitch. I'm not sure that directly on screen. And then the Twitch integration in our little project here will mark it as fulfilled. Mark it as completed once the game actually spawns the Dwarf Boar or whatever. That should be fine to show. See, sure enough, look at that. Spawn Dwarf Boar, 1 request, Sugi. And it has not been marked as completed or rejected yet. Sugima. And that'll automatically get cleared out once it does that. Ah, and Puyo is not set to automatically clear. Let me fix that. Yeah, so next time I pull up the game, it should automatically pull it out of the redemption queue and execute it. So we'll get run, just not immediately. I need to set up that sound redo to skip the queue because I don't want to get spammed by that all the time. There we go. Alrighty, so back to the project. So for our monster commands, the things we can tell a monster to do, they can chase Pikmin, and I think that is still good. We still want to be able to chase Pikmin with most enemy types. I don't think we've actually implemented Shake yet, but that's sitting there. But eating is only one way to damage Pikmin, and not every monster will eat. Some of them have other types of attacks. So let's add a new command for that. So I could just add a generic attack, but I kind of want to have a few different command types depending on the type of attack so that the logic will flow a little better that way. So, if we look at our enemy types here in the sprite sheet, what do some of them have in common? So we've got the blowhogs. Those are obviously going to work almost exactly the same, just one of them blows water and one of them blows fire. So that's simple enough. The frogs work by leaping into the air and then falling down and squishing things. So perhaps we'll have a squish attack, a blow attack. Most of these work by just flopping around and then occasionally eating Pikmin. So that can just stay as the normal eating animation, as do most of these guys. What else do we have? Yeah, the bread bugs. The bread bugs are going to be weird. Those might require some major refactoring to get working, but we'll see. So the mushroom boss guy, he emits spores that turn them into zombie Pikmin. He'll need special coating most likely, but we could potentially implement it as an emission of elemental spores that are like fancy spore particle effects. They just have a different effect from fire or water. Lightning attacks. This one's going to be weird to implement if we use these sprites, but for this, we could potentially consider this to also be a emitted elemental attack, just like the blowhogs, just with a different graphic, where it shoots out electricity between them. Similarly for the static electric traps, or the fire spouts, or the gas, all these are just emitting elemental particles in a certain direction, for a certain distance and speed. So it seems like there's probably some common logic in terms of emitting elemental particles that we could share between all of these different enemy types. So I'm gonna make a command type called emit, I think. And that'll be for an attack that involves emitting some type of particle. I scrolled past it. Here we go. Okay, so what should an emit command look like? So it should have a direction that it's facing in. Probably, but that depends on the enemy type. And if there's any nearby Pikmin. Usually for like a blowhog, it should probably just be in whatever direction it happens to be facing when it stops to attack. For a trap, it'll be a fixed direction. Always in one direction or another. For the electric beetles, it'll be a little bit different. But we'll figure that out later. So sure, let's have a direction. And then we're going to spawn elemental particles facing in a certain direction. Looks like we've already got some existing ones, like these poison clouds here, these fire spouts. So we can probably just reuse these sprites to render it. So really, instead of it being a cloud of particles, it may be that visually. Let's say like when a fiery blowhog blows fire, right? For demonstration purposes here. It's gonna like blow out a stream like that. So really it's more like it's making a beam of fire than like randomly spewing out like dots of fire everywhere. And I think that's the case for most of these. It's either in a line or like a circle around it. I'd say like shape can be a line or a circle. Or even potentially it could always be an ellipse. Just with a horizontal and vertical radius to it. That might be a good enough abstraction. So for that, if we did an ellipse, it would look like this. Something like that. Which doesn't look too far off from how it looks in game. A little bit weird. For these guys, easy enough, it would just look like a cloud of particles like that. For this, you already have that visual effect, but same idea, damage radius around it. For the fire spouts, it would be a line going up. Something like that. For these guys, it would look like that, which the shorter edges would be covered by the beetle themselves anyway. So that could work, potentially. I do the math here. Alternatively, we make it a line with a radius. Basically a cylinder. And that radius could potentially be that big, and then just the line has no length to it. Almost like a 2D capsule or pill shape. Yeah, that sounds like that's going to be decently easy enough to do the math on. Okay, so we got our emission. It's got a direction from the monster's center point. The length, how long that line is going to be, and then how wide the line is going to be. That should be easy enough. Okay, and then we need the type of effect that the thing has. Let's make an enum for that. It's a good place to put that. Let's say here. Emission type. So we got none, of course, our default value. Now we're just doing fire blowhog, so let's just have fire as the option. We can add more to it later. Mission type. There we go. So that should be all the stats we need on that. Oh, we also need the duration. So we got two things here. So if we look at the fiery blowhog, the way we want it to work is we want it to have kind of a beam of fire that starts at the mouth and then gets progressively longer until it reaches its maximum length, and then it stops. For these guys, we'd want it to spread out in a circle from the creature until it reaches a certain limit and stops. These traps, same idea, just almost immediately extends to its full length and stays there for a duration. With the fire, and extends up for duration, poison, same thing. Okay. So I think we got two numbers here. We've got extend time, how long it takes for the danger zone, the damage zone, the hitbox to go from 0 length to maximum length. And then we've got how long the overall effect lasts before it ends. So the emit time. So we haven't actually set up any of this behavior yet, but now we have all the properties that we need to describe how that behavior should be customized. And that'll let us adapt this to other monster types very easily. Okay, and that's something we could potentially make just a property of our monster in general here. As if the monster can emit as part of an attack, then we have those customizable properties here. Let's see, what do we do if the Pikmin type can eat? How do we handle that one currently? It's going to be similar logic there. If the monsters, here we go, monster eats. That logic is just in there already, okay. This one doesn't actually check those monster properties. This one does. Okay, so it checks if we can eat, and if we do, then we move towards it, use all those properties. Okay, simple enough. Just talking to myself here almost. Okay. So basically all of these customizable properties also need to be on the monster's definition here. So if they do emit, here's all of the things that describe how they emit. There we go. We also need a something to indicate how close the monster should get to the Pikmin it's chasing in order to attack. Let's also add a chase radius. So if our monster can emit, we move them towards the Pikmin until they get into the chase radius. And if they can't eat and they can't emit, they should do all that. They need to restructure this slightly. It's getting a little bit awkward. So I'm going to make some nested ifs here. So just like, if we can eat it all, then we move towards creatures and do all that. And if we can emit, we instead do all this. And if we can't do any of those things, we just march towards the Pikmin and do nothing else. We're purely just following them out of curiosity, I guess. Okay, so there we go. So if we can emit, we'll move towards the target until we get within that chasing distance. And then we need to tell the monster to start emitting. So this one doesn't involve any Pikmin specifically. We start emitting. And all these other properties are going to be based on the monster. So the direction it'll emit will be currently just based on the monster's facing direction. The length of the emission will be based on the monster's length. Properties, same with all these others. The emit radius, emission type. Emit time. There we go. So that should be all that. We give the monster a command. Move on. Bogged down in the weeds here, but that's how it goes sometimes. Okay, we don't need that hard-coded direction. Maybe what we could do is some monsters, I guess, are going to have a specific direction that they attack in every time. Like these traps. So for those, we could have direction as an option. But if they don't have a specific direction, then they'll use the monster's direction. So either the explicitly defined emission direction or the monster's direction, whichever one is set. That'll work. Okay, and now we need to set up our emission properties for all these different types. So a dwarf bulborb does not emit. So that's just going to be null. Bulborb does not emit. So that's going to be null. A fiery blowhog does emit. So this is going to have its own properties. So how far close should I get to Pikmin before it tries to breathe on them? Well, its own radius is 16, so let's say a little bit higher than that. Let's say like 64 pixels away. I should always use the direction that it's already facing in. How far should the fire breathe for? Let's say... I don't know. Let's measure it out. So if we look at this fiery blowhog, how long would we expect this breath cone to be? Let's say something like that. 128 pixels. Emission type fire. How wide should the beam be? I'd say probably similar to the height of the creature itself. So let's say 32 pixels is the height. Radius would be half that, so 16. Okay. And then it should take, let's say, going whoosh. Like a second and a half, maybe, to fully extend. And then it should stay extended for like 3 seconds. I don't know, completely arbitrary numbers. What can you do? Okay. So we got all that. About this much. There you go. That'll work. Okay. Pellet posies do not emit anything. Wouldn't that be terrifying if a pellet posy could suddenly just vent fire? Okay, and then now we can finally update our sprite here. So when a fiery blowhog, it's not eating, but when it's emitting, it uses the attack sprites. That'll work. Okay. So now we need to actually make a mission do stuff. So we're going to be doing a lot of code here. It's just how it is. But we could test this right now. We should see that the monster should stop because it enters the emission state. Let's see. So if the monster is emitting, it should have a command type of 6. Yeah, just an empty file so we can see things clearly. Pop open the game. Alright, I can't pull up dev tools from here. But you can see at least that its feet are no longer walking because it's in the attack state. So it's standing still instead of attacking or idling. So that's working as intended. Exactly. Alright, cool. So let's actually make the fire hurt the Pikmin, shall we? I get dramatic boss music. Thank you, Pikmin. Not that exciting right now, actually. Okay, so we start emitting. Now we need to actually handle when we do emit. So we got our handling for if we're eating. So if the monster is doing a emit command, then we start doing this. Okay. So generally we're going to start counting down the timers. So our emit extend time, we're going to start counting down by reducing the amount of time that's passed from the timer. So with our overall emit time, lower that by the amount of time that's passed. Okay. And then we need to calculate all the Pikmin that are within the damaging direction. So let's get, first off, the direction that the beam will face in. So we can do that based on the direction that the monster is facing, or that the emission is happening in. So I'm going to say, define this direction map here. That is a map of direction values to X and Y coordinates. That should both be numbers. So if we're facing downward, then that'll be no change on the horizontal axis, increasing value on the y-axis. Having lunch, have fun. Alright, enjoy your lunch, Sugi. Facing up, it's going to be the same, but in the opposite direction on the vertical axis. We're going to be going negative values. We're reducing the value there. Then left. That will be reducing on the horizontal axis. No change on the vertical axis. And right. Increasing on the horizontal axis. No change to the y-axis. There we go. Oh, and it wants a value for direction none. If for whatever reason you put none in here as your direction, which would be kind of silly, then I guess there'll be no change on either axis. That'll work. Okay. So how do we calculate how far we've extended? Because we have the final length, but we don't have the initial length. Or the overall progress in extending. I think we might need to update this. Have another property. Start time. No. How do I want to do this? Can have a length and then a max length. They're moving towards. No. Sorry, I need to think through how to handle this. So we're counting down until it's fully extended. We didn't know what our initial extend time was, though. My max extend time. And that'll be the same as our extend time, but it's not going to go down like the other value does. Okay. Extend ratio. So how far we are towards extending, that'll be based on the fraction between extend time and the max extend time. So that'll be extend time divided by max extend time. So as this approaches 0, this whole thing approaches 0. As this starts out at the same time as extend time, this will be 1. So this whole value will go from 1 to 0 over the course of the whole extension time. So let's invert that. So if we do 1 minus that, so if 1 minus 1 is 0, and then as this value goes to 0, the value gets smaller and smaller, so it'll be 0.9, 0.8, 0.7, which causes this to go from 1 to 0.9, 0.8, 0.7. Right. This gets reduced by less each time. So 1 minus 1 is 0, 1 minus 0.9 is 0.1. Yeah. So this whole value will now go from 0 to 1. Yes. And then we just need to keep it so that it doesn't go past 0 or higher than 1 as a result of these changes. So the smallest value this can be is 1. And the largest value this can be is... Or... No. That way around. The number will be 1 or itself, whichever is lower, and then 0 or itself, whichever is higher. So it'll never go below 0, and it'll never go above 1. There we go. So that was a lot of math, but basically now we've got a number that will... Oh, Drop Shotter! Thank you for the subscription, I appreciate it. Welcome to the Space Lab. Sorry for 2 months. Much appreciated. Alrighty. Yep, so... all of this just to get us a number that goes between 0 and 1 as the time passes. So we get our direction, which is whatever value is in here based on the direction that we're emitting in. We get our length. Our current length is how far we've extended so far times the total length that we're trying to get to. And then our radius is just command's radius. So this should be all of the numbers that we need to calculate the list of all the Pikmin along this line. Where this gets complicated, though, is now we got to do math. So we need to get the distance between any arbitrary point and this line segment. I don't think we have a utility function for that yet. Got a point on oval. Yeah, but we don't have a function for all that. Oh, we could have just used our real-lerp helper function for that. Oh well. It's good enough. So let's see. Distance to line segment. So we'll have our x-coordinates point, or our random point, wherever it is in space, and then we need the coordinates of our line. Start x-coordinate, that's our y-coordinate, end x-coordinate, and y-coordinate, and the destination coordinates. Okay, this I'm just going to Google because I am not a geometry major. I don't have these equations memorized. So Wikipedia, distance from a point to a line, that's what we need. Line defined by 2 points, yep, that's what we got. So x1, y1, x2, y2 are the 2 points here. And x0, y0 are our coordinates. Okay. So this is a lot of things going on here. Okay. Absolute value of that top half of the equation divided by the bottom half of the equation, which is the square root of all those properties. I'll just go down the list. So starting off, absolute value of x2 is dx minus our source x times our source y minus our y coordinate minus our source x minus our x coordinate times our destination y coordinate minus our source y coordinate. There you go. I think that's the code equivalent of that equation. The top half and the bottom half. It's the square root of our destination y coordinate minus our source, our destination x coordinate minus our source x coordinate raised to the second power. Plus our same thing in this direction. destination y coordinate minus our source y coordinate. Minus the second power. There we go. So I think that's everything. So now how do I deal with this for a line segment? Okay, so feasibly, if you think about this geometrically, let me pull up MS Paint real quick. So we've got our point here, which is the point we're measuring, the Pikmin's position in this case. And we've got our line segment. We've got our starting point. And our, sure, starting point green, fine by me. Then the paintbrush. Our ending coordinate over, not that, shapes. That's what it is, circle. Ending coordinate over there. And then between those 2 points, we have our line segment. Get that yellow. The line that passes between these 2 points. So our equation right here is calculating the distance between these. So that'll be this distance right here. So the only problem is if our point is like all the way out here. Like if it's here. Then this isn't really accurate to where the point is along this actual line where we want it to be. So how can we know if a point is basically within this rectangle here? That's the trick. Because we only want to consider things that are within this rectangle. We've got the distance to this line as a whole. And we've got our 2 points. Let's see, I can label this. Our start point. X and Y coordinate. Our destination, X and Y coordinate. Our initial X and Y coordinates there. Then we also have radius. Radius of these circles. My geometry is very rusty. It's been years. Okay. So we basically don't care about any points that are past this line here. In this line. If they are past this point, then we only care about their distance from the circle. We only have to deal with the weirdness of this line if they are between these two axes. How do we calculate that? I wonder if we could do a kind of silly heuristic here. So we can get this distance from a point easily enough, distance from a circle. So what if we... Can I do scale from the center? No, that's unfortunate. We did something like define this circle. And we only care about points that are within this circle. So if it's within this line, then we can safely use this distance calculation just fine. If it's outside of that, even if it's like here, we can just get the distance to the closest circle, and that'll be a good approximation. Okay, so we can calculate our start and end points here. Well, we got them already. We can calculate their distance to those points, though. So our distance to our start point is our distance function. Our start. Our distance to our destination. And then we get the radius of this circle, which will be half of the distance between the start and end points. So our x coordinate, our y coordinate, our start x position and start y, or no, sorry. Our start x coordinate, or I guess this is more like length. There we go. This distance to line. This line segment will be similar. Okay. So if our point is here, we got this circle connecting them. That distance. We also have this circle here. I'm just confusing myself. It's fine. Ever just casually reverse engineer geometric principles from an MS Paint diagram instead of looking it up like you should? It happens. Okay. So we got the length of our line segment, the distance from the starting point to each of those two coordinates, I guess if we're ignoring radius entirely, we just have that. I guess I do need to just project onto it. Okay, never mind, I'll just look it up. Oh, perfect. Stack Overflow's answered this for me. I'm just going to copy and paste this code and clean it up. Okay, this square function. This is just 2D distance function. We already have one of those. Oh, that's not pre-square rooted, actually. So that's not the same function. This naming scheme's going to get confusing. Let's say A, X number, and B, X number, Y, X, EY, AX, BX, AY, BY. Segment squared. That'd be a PX, Y, A, B, Boyo. Hello again, Yazoo. AX, AY. You know, honestly, boss fight music, that sounds about right for geometry. How's it going? We are getting lost in geometry math stuff. As you do. So I just copied and pasted some code off the internet, and I'm cleaning up here. And the basic idea is we want to figure out how far away the Pikmin are from the fire that the fiery blowhog spits out. So we need code to calculate that. Okay. XPY. Fiery Bulwark is a different mob. Yep, that's another one we'll have to implement eventually. But, not yet. Okay. This should just be that. And this should just be this. There we go. It's kind of ugly, but what can you do? Okay. I got PX number, PY. PX number, AY. PX, Y. PX, PY. PX, AY. PX, PY. There we go. Alright, so all this math, we can clean this up some. This is only used here, so we can just simplify this down. Managed to be the third difficulty on the new Overwatch event thing. Nice! The Diablo style one. Why the rest are literally the worst things in this game. Yeah, those are a pain. Every single other boss melted. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's just how it is, unfortunately. Okay, this function's only used once. Can I make it so it's not how it is? Unfortunately, I'm not on the Overwatch balance team. Otherwise, I would say yes. Yeah, I know. I'm really slacking off here. Oh man. Overwatch would be terrible if I was in charge of balance. Nobody wants that. I would make sports so broken OP. Nerf every other roll into the ground. Everyone would hate me, guarantee it. According to Reddit, that's already how it is. True. That's Reddit, though. Honestly, I think one of my friends just doesn't understand how to play the game. Yeah, is this the one that consistently gets really bad stats? Like an impressive level? Yeah. Now, support utility is really good right now. I don't disagree with that. New Sombra is super annoying, though. I don't like it. She's too good here in Silver and Gold rank. I was playing Zarya last time, he wasn't here today, so I took her and we destroyed the event mode. Nice. He didn't even get all the powers. Yeah, some of them don't really make that big of a difference. But nice job. Zarya does seem to be pretty decent in that mode. Lots of random damage, especially from the mini bosses to charge up. Especially with our recent charge decay buff. You need to tell him that Zarya's grenade gets damage over time with an upgrade. Nice. Haven't actually played Zarya in that mode yet. That sounds like fun though. So you just like right click, lob it in that general direction, move away. Okay, back to the fun code. All of that. Okay, so we need to calculate our source X position, our direction X position. So you can just break this down. I better not do that. So it starts with the monster's X position. She gets Winston Jump, Ram's ult on Self Shield, attack speed and movement speed and AoE on friend buff, and main laser does an explosion if you stay on the target. Grenade gets the damage of time with the same upgrade. Dang. That all sounds like a lot of fun, actually. So what do you mean by Ram's ult? Is in like the AoE damage? If so, that's pretty fun. Nice. That sounds cool. I'll have to try that out. Let's see. Dist to effect. Distance to line segment. Care about that it still has to be Sombra's virus spreading if the target dies. Yeah, that one is really fun. I did do that one. So when you got a whole swarm of like 10 Zomnics, you kill one and it just poof. Suddenly they're all taking a bunch of damage. Unfortunately, it doesn't stack like Ash's Dynamite in that one mode. I remember that being super busted. Alright, yeah, the April Fool mode. Yeah, because it would... the Dynamite would go off, set everyone on fire, and then if they died, it would set everyone else on fire again, and it would stack with itself. So the most fun I've had on this game. That was a fun patch. I miss those voice lines. I can't believe they recorded a bunch of April Fool's voice lines, only to use one day a year. Oh, that's what it was on proximity, yeah. So if anyone entered the radius around them, and then walked away, then walked back, it would stack again with itself. You could just instantly kill anyone if they're moving around enough. It was terrifying. Alrighty. My mind is starting to go. Okay, so we need to find all the Pikmin that are within the radius, so... Pikmin... And we're gonna find all the Pikmin where the distance to the effect, the Pikmin's position, monster's position, monster position plus the direction we're facing in times the current length of the effect. Same for the y coordinate. And we find the Pikmin where that is less than or equal to the radius of the overall effect. It is less than, so you go into effect radius of 0. Alright, throwing a dynamite in a choke and just getting a team kill 2 seconds later. Sounds about right. Oh man. I can't remember the last time I actually got a team kill. It's definitely been months. So many times someone's just staggered and doesn't count. Okay, so using all this math, I just realized something else we're gonna have to do. Thanks, Hydra Yazoo. So with the fiery blowhog, the fire doesn't actually start at the center of the fiery blowhog. It's kind of an important aspect to it, isn't it? Let's see, it actually starts like, let's say, 16 pixels away from the center. A little bit more than that in some cases, actually. Here it's like 24 on the horizontal. About 24 on the vertical. And way less than that on the downward facing sprite. We can kind of cheat and fix that by just dragging these down a few pixels. Cool. So we're gonna need one more property here. So we also have a like offset. Maybe just an offset. Bum bum bum. Classic. So we offset it with that 24 pixels. That's what it was. Yeah. So the fire beam does not start directly on the monster's position, but a little bit further past it. Bum 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 bum. Okay. So then we need to modify this some. Say start X is monster's X position plus the direction we're facing times the offset. Source Y position, same thing on the other axis. And say destination X. Oh, thank you for the follow, perfunctory. Welcome in. So it'll be that. Do it by length. Okay, there we go. Source X, source Y, dx, dy. There we go. So after all that, we should now have a list of all Pikmin that are within the area of effect. But we don't currently have health on Pikmin. So I think we need to have new code for when Pikmin are electrified, or drowning, or on fire. Let's say... what do you call this? Yeah, we'll need a time value for that, for how long they should be on in that condition for before they die. Exactly. What do I call that state? We could add one for each element type, but I feel like there's enough overlap. It just affects what direction they run in. reset when you clear the effect in the game, so it's not really health. Yeah, it's more like a state that the Pikmin can be in, is being on fire or drowning or whatever else. So what would you call all of those things together? When you're on fire, or you're drowning, or you're poisoned? Like panicking? I feel like I panic enough. It's only fair that Pikmin should also panic. They just may die from their panic. Exactly. Okay, maybe instead of an emission type, we could say element. So this is an elemental emission attack. And when a Pikmin is panicking, then they have both a panic timer before they die, maybe a death time, and a element that they're being affected by. There we go. That should work. And we don't currently have whistling as a thing. I guess we have plucking. So I'm not sure how we cleanse elemental effects on Pikmin in this. That's something we might have to think about in the design. So that's kind of brutal. Alright, let me pull up the Piclopedia again. Fire. There we go. Most Pikmin types are not resistant to fire. If there's a fire source, the tops of their stems will begin to burn up. They'll run around in a panic state and not saved will eventually succumb and die. Yep. Ice Pikmin burn quicker than other types. Interesting. Pikmin that are on fire will not be affected by explosions. I wonder if there's any exploits you can pull off with that. Intentionally set someone on fire and then set off bombs. Okay, it doesn't specify how long they panic for. Panic. There we go. Why would you even do that? I don't know. Like, you're fighting like a boss that emits fire, and you want to, like, blow him up, but you don't want to kill all your Pikmin in the process, so you, like, throw a bunch of Pikmin at, like, a fiery bullblax, and they start taking damage, and then you throw a bunch of bomb rocks that immediately explode. I don't know. I don't know. Okay. There's not many places where the two overlap in the first place. Fair enough. Probably doesn't matter to them, but, you know. It's not process. Okay. Like most things on this wiki, it doesn't actually give us a timer. Tragedy. Okay. So let's just use a placeholder value like most things in this game. The Pikmin game put one on fire so long it takes. Yeah, I probably should be doing that with all this stuff, but also I'm lazy. Okay, so we got our list of targets. So we've reached Pikmin target. So if they are currently panicking, and they're panicking about the same type of element that they're already affected by, then we probably shouldn't change that. So yeah, if they're already on fire, then just leave them on fire. Don't do anything. If they're not on fire yet, then we change them to be on fire. Change them to panic. Set the element to the same as the commands element. And then we'll save the panic for, I don't know. It's guesstimating game. One's running around on fire. I feel like they'll last for like a good 4 or 5 seconds before they actually die. Say like 5 seconds. It might be too long, but we can measure it out. Okay. Stretch. Okay, we settled the Pikmin on to start panicking with whatever element they're affected by. Monster keeps breathing. Yep, okay. And then if emission time finishes, then we stop. Is this? Yeah, okay. Yes, hello, Annika. Yeah, working on the idle game still. Working on implementing fiery low hogs, and that's involving a lot of updates. Yeah, there are a few redeems. That's right, because you haven't seen them since last time. I'll pull up the game in a minute so you can see all our current progress, but let me fix this first. If our emit time is less than or equal to 0, then the monster goes back to being idle. There we go. First time in my life I'm going to be coding while watching you code. Insane. Wow. Craft economy, coding arc, let's go. I love programming, but it's also difficult, but I love it. Alright, cool. So now theoretically we can set Pikmin on fire. They won't actually do anything when they're on fire, but we can do it. Let's see if we can pull that up. It's fine, you know, their job is to panic. Okay, so you see this yellow and blue Pikmin right next to that. I think they're not moving because they have all been set on fire. Yes, I believe these are all currently in the panic state. Okay. Yeah, so let's have them actually run around in circles. And become Lunch your Destroyer of Hunger. Welcome back, Sugi. Glad you enjoyed your lunch. Okay, oh no, don't clip that. Alrighty, well, yep, we are going to set Pikmin on fire. It's fine. It's time for Pikmin arson. It's so funny without context. That's the idea. I am back at it with the Pikmin game. Hello, Irvin. How's it going? Oh, sorry. I forgot to actually let you interact with the game. Let me pull that up in a sec. Let me just implement Pikmin panicking real quick. Okay, so the Pikmin is panicking. Oh, Sugi. Oh, Annika, thank you for the gift sub to Sugi. I really appreciate it. Enjoy your emote, Sugi. Going just vibing at the moment. How am I? I am a little bit tired, but it's fine. I'm doing pretty good. We're working on the Pikmin Idol game. It's exciting. Having fun. Making progress. Nice, nice, nice. Okay. Yeah, so if a Pikmin is panicking, then we tick down the panic timer by the amount of time that's passed. Good vibes all around. And if the panic timer has reached 0, the Pikmin tragically dies. Let me copy some code so I can do that the same way in both places. Oh no, spawning borbs. Okay, those will pop up next time. Okay, so if you eat Pikmin, then we're going to do basically the same thing here. Yeah. So we delete the Pikmin, remove them from the list. Yeah, I got the Pikmin 3 soundtrack playing on in the background. Some of the stuff includes sound effects from cutscenes. And we are unfortunately deleting Pikmin. Oh, those are the sounds of all the captains dying. Perfect timing, actually. Okay. So the Pikmin dies, we spawn the ghosts, delete them, they're gone. Yep, looks good. And also while they're panicking, this entire intro Pikmin do from time to time, yep. Okay, so while the Pikmin is panicking, they're going to run in a random direction. So let's just say... let's plug that in. I don't know if that's going to work how I want it to, but we'll leave it at that. Move a random up to 5 pixels in any direction. It might just look like the jitter. Might need more work there, but let's start there. Okay, pulling up the game. There's Drop Shatter's Bull Bears, or Bull Borbs. And sure enough, I think a bunch of Pikmin just died to fire, technically. Right back getting Subway? Nice. Okay, well all those Pikmin are dead. So someone will need to pluck the Pikmin seeds that are on the ground. There you go, and now they're all back up. And they're still getting mobbed to death by the enemies. Unfortunate. Alright, so I think we've had a Pikmin extinction event. But each of the onions spawned 1 seed when they ran out of other Pikmin on the field. So cool. They're very excited. Yeah, so it does take a little bit of a delay sometimes for it to pick up the redeem, but it will eventually process it. It'll be in queue for a little bit. Then it'll spawn whatever you ask it for.
I am a scientist. It's so cool. Son of a bitch.
It's true, I am very cool. Everyone knows it. Okay. So right now the Pikmin aren't really don't really have the upper hand. It's kind of hard to tell what's going on. So let's let you guys mess around for a little bit. I'm going to disable the initial fiery blowhog spawns. Hang on. You're spawning all these things, but I'm gonna have to reset them. Here we go. Spawning so many bulborbs, oh no. See how the little Pikmin ghosts getting all munched. Yep, we're already hit the extinction event. I should eventually be able to kill the bulborbs. But it might take a bit. Thanks, Hydrate. Chaos indeed. Just so many bulborbs just rushing those poor 3 Pikmin. Brutal. They can't even drink any of the nectar, they're just permanently dead. There's no coming back from this. Stress testing the system, it's true. Well, the code should be able to handle a lot of enemies. But eventually it will start to struggle, mostly with the bandwidth, the bitrate. Alright, well here, since you guys want to spawn so much, how about we spawn in more Pikmin at the start? So they get a little bit more of a fighting chance before they get massacred. There we go. Alright, now you can have at it. There you go. They took out the bulborb. This is gonna be worth a lot of seeds. Victory! Yep. So much nectar. Each of those is worth 10 Pikmin, so... That is enough nectar for 10 Pikmin. That's gonna... probably be enough to cover all of them. I'm just gonna guess. Need to raise the strength of my army. Fair enough. Fair enough. So many Pikmin. Up to 71. Maybe we start with 15 of each. So 45. Yeah, I can start throwing bulwarps at him. Oh no. Okay, murder time. Yeah, here we go. Let's see the swarm. We got one. We got two. We're down to 38 Pikmin. Yeah, adult bulwarps are scary. Those bulwarps get stuck. They don't get stuck, but they will sit around if there are no Pikmin close by to aggro them. Or if they're busy munching on existing Pikmin. Yeah, so a large enough Pikmin swarm can certainly kill a bulwarp, but it might just throw a lot of them. Honestly, it looks like they probably attacked too quickly. Might tweak that. I think it takes 2 seconds to eat them instead of 1 second. Eat 5 at a time, which is still pretty brutal already. Yeah, that's it. Pikmin extinction event. Tragic. He's going for it. Is he gonna make it? Oh no, there goes the bulwarp. Well, he got the 2 seeds, and then he got immediately munched. The 2 new seeds, he did. So plan way to increase the Pikmin faster with redeems? Potentially. I haven't thought through what that would look like yet. If the monsters spawn directly, camp the onions, and you're kind of screwed right now. So I'm not sure what I want to do. Maybe there's a way to, like, spawn in a group of, like, wild Pikmin at a random point on the map. So if nothing else, it should kite the monsters away. That could be an interesting way to do it. I gotta reset it again. Good stress testing, like you said. So if there's enough Pikmin, then they should start harvesting all the pellets and pellet posies on their own. Which gives them a pretty fast growth rate. But it's when you start overwhelming them with bulwarps that it becomes a problem. Hey, we're doing a spawn bigger pellets. That too, yeah. I don't have any sprites for larger pellet posies, so I'd have to make those from scratch. But I could. It'd just take a while. I'm not the most artistic. And let's pluck those seeds. Peppy jam. Indeed. And they're gonna go even faster now. So the way the Pikmin AI works is they'll always prioritize tasks that are close to them. And if there's nothing close by, they'll just wander around for a little bit until eventually they are willing to go further out to find stuff to do. So you see, like, a lot of them were just milling about for a bit. And then they're like, oh wait, oh yeah, there's pellet posies all the way out there. Let's go check those out. But if no one's to spawn near the base, they would have prioritized those. So that helps prevent them from getting spread out too much. They communicate or they just find the same pellet? They do not communicate. They will spread out the tasks a little bit by merit of them picking random targets instead of only the closest one. It'd be fun to implement a pheromone algorithm, it would be. Especially since we don't have any captains to direct them. And dwarf bulborbs, they don't struggle quite as much with. They don't as necessarily net additional Pikmin, but they usually don't lose too many. Full-size bulborbs are just scary, though. Mortar! Exactly. Yeah, that's killing a lot of Pikmin. Already back down to 40. Seeing all those Pikmin ghosts, kind of terrifying. And they got him, though. We're back up to 80. Not bad. Yeah, they take a lot of Pikmin down. Bulborbs are scary when you can't actually use strategy to, like, throw Pikmin up on their backs and stuff. It's worse when they start coming slowly because you can eat them faster than they arrive, yeah. Exactly. If you just try to rush them, it doesn't really work that well. It's the only way to do it is with swarms of larger than 5 Pikmin, really. And probably also nerf their HP a little bit. Does the onion store seeds over max? It does, actually. So if your population goes less than 100 and there are seeds stored in the onion, it will automatically spawn them as Pikmin. I could probably add text over the onions actually to indicate that. That'd be a good idea. I suggested it. Might as well make a note of that. I also suggested earlier. Oh yeah. Oh, my other idea of spawn a wild Pikmin group. Good if you don't have the appropriate onions for it. So yeah, now that we got 100, and most of them are flowered up, I should be able to deal with bulborbs better. Yeah, they just swarm them. You just see the long line of flowers. The engine could probably potentially, code-wise, handle more than 100 Pikmin, but I feel like rendering is probably going to slow to a crawl if I try to push it faster than that. So we'll leave it as is. You got so many Pikmin now that they don't all have stuff to do. So they're just all rushing the same pellets. Now, if we spawn a couple different bulb orbs, though, they might actually be able to pose a threat. I noticed the Pikmin are also getting really close to the monsters to be able to attack them. Probably need to change that so monsters have a radius, so they can attack from a distance. Yeah, so we did lose quite a few Pikmin, but we also restored them with seeds, so it's fine. We're still at 100. See, how many Bull Wars do you think it would take to actually wipe them out now? That should be a good handful. I do want to murder them all. This is important balance feedback. Yep, that's what this is. Pikmin genocide. Yep, Pikmin genocide run. Our goal is to cause a Pikmin extinction event. They're doing pretty well, though. They're back up to 100. That's pretty fun. Yeah, not a particularly deep game, as it were, but it can be a fun thing to throw up on your BRB screens and stuff. That's pretty much what it's for. Right now, I could put this up on a URL and send it to friends if they wanted to try this out for themselves. There are a few more steps than that, but it should be pretty much as simple as throwing it in a browser source, clicking the little link to link it to Twitch. And I'm totally open to feedback on where we should take it from here, because I honestly don't really have an overarching design in mind for this. Have it on top all the time. Yeah, I mean, there's a reason it has a transparent background, so you can do that. I have no idea, but I love it. Fair enough. There's also obviously no like long-term progression in it or anything at the moment. It just resets every time the browser source loads again. So there's not really any like anything worth saving at the moment, because you can get the Pikmin back pretty quickly. Moving the answer corner wouldn't be that intrusive. That's true. If I was making this like a whole app, I would totally have like settings, so you can like configure like, oh, I want the onions to be in this quadrant of the map or that quadrant of the map, so they can wander around elsewhere, but it won't block up as much of the screen. Right now, it will adjust to your browser source size. That's kind of neat. So if you give it a smaller window, the Pikmin will be constrained to that window. It won't spawn things off screen. Imagine designing a user experience. Couldn't be me. Couldn't be me. It's very difficult because on the one hand, I need this to like talk to Twitch and have like API access and all this stuff, but I also just want it to be just a browser source, so I don't have to like set up servers and worry about hosting costs and API limits and all of that. I wonder how the rate limits work on this, if they're per user or per app. I need to look that up. Twitch API rate limiting. Twitch rate limits, that's the one. Your app is given a bucket of points. Each input is assigned a points value. By user access token, the limits are applied per client ID per user per minute. Okay, so that should be fine then if the limit's per user. Then it should be a problem if multiple people have this set up. It is a little bit awkward because there's no way to have the app automatically clear out the redeems when you're not using it. So you'd have to like go into your manage redeems and temporarily like delete or disable the ones that the app creates. Sorry if you just saw this and I missed it, but it would be easier or harder for you if people are running it as an exe on their own computer instead of a browser. So below, he's constantly overlays an exe and had generated OAuth code. Yeah, it would theoretically be a little bit easier if it was an exe. You still have to do a lot of the API and browser stuff, but that would let me have a user interface that isn't just the browser source itself. Because that's definitely kind of one of the awkward parts of it. It could enable the redeems when you run and disable them on shutdown. Here's the thing, web pages don't have a concept of shutdown. When you close a browser page, just all the code on it immediately stops running. By design, because otherwise ads would use that to hijack your computer when you try to close the tab. Yeah. If it's an exe, then you do have more control over that because you can have the executable have on-close events and such, because Windows doesn't have that restriction. So yeah, theoretically, that would be like, if I wanted to do that as a next step, I would have to turn this into a full-blown web app of some kind, or as a standalone executable that shows up as a browser source, or a game capture or something. That would be a lot of work from where we are now, so it's just kind of a theoretical. I've been seeing how far I can get without having to touch that so far. Yeah, but then we get into the whole problem of, oh yeah, you just download an entire Chromium browser just to run this app. That always is annoying. You got giant Electron apps that are only used for one small gimmicky thing. How to see if Neutralino's gotten any more reliable. Good old trustworthy, yeah. Anyway, for like early alpha playtesting, the browser source should be good enough, I think. So, sure, yeah, if you're interested in testing that out, Annika, or Irvin, if you're still here, I can DM it to you. And if you or your viewers have any ideas, we can work on improving it. Cool, sounds good. I will figure that out and send that your way probably after stream today. I don't have time to play with it soon, but I'd love to try it. Makes sense. Sounds good, sounds good. Okay, well, anyway, that is the game in its current state. Oh, wow. You know, I haven't seen that particular version of the thing. That's cool. That's not what I meant to do. Where is the... There we go, band button. That's the one I wanted. A block. Nice. Flexible and convenient. Wow. Okay, so we need to finish implementing at least our fire. That would be a good thing to do. So let's spawn those fiery blowhogs again. So yeah, that text offset's good, so we can get rid of that now. Hello, I would like to offer you the chance to earn $9 billion a day. All you need to do is email me a small loan of 100,000. 100,000 what, Hanukkah? 100,000 what? Pikmin. Okay, yeah, I can do 100,000 Pikmin, no problem. Just let this run for a while. Okay, so we can see Pikmin dying, so that's cool. I think their panic needs to look a little more convincing. So let's fix that. Also, they should move faster when they're panicking, I think. What am I looking for? Oh yeah, types. Say, whew. Yeah, you definitely saw that group of them die in the center there, so that was definitely a fire blast that killed them all. We just couldn't see the fire because we don't have sprites for it yet. Okay, what do I want to call this? Change direction time. Let's do verbose. Here, we can just have a target X and a target Y. That'll work. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. So when Pikmin are panicking, they're gonna pick a random point nearby, kind of like when they do when they're idle, and they're gonna run to that position. When they reach it, they're gonna pick a new random place to run to. And so on. Thanks to the Hydra Yazoo. Almost out of water. Okay, there we go. So now in our code for when Pikmin are panicking, I need to stop looking at the other monitor. Okay, here we go. So instead of all this logic, if move creature towards then command dot target X, target Y, and give it some reasonable distance, delta time. There we go. So we move towards that target location, and if we reach it, then we change the target location. something else I'm going to do is that they run faster when they're panicking, which makes sense. These Pikmin are lazy and only move quickly when they're freaking out. Okay. If Pikmin's c.command.type is panic, return select 3. That might be too fast, but we'll see. Okay. So let's see what happens when the fiery blowhog gets to them. Oh, they're really freaking out there. Okay, on the right track. And we could probably slow them down a little bit. And then have them go a little bit further. When they're freaking out. Where's that? Hit creature speed. There we go. Change that to just 2. Yeah, they are zooming. And where was this? Pikmin command type is panic. Yeah, okay. It's like double or triple that even. See how that looks. That looks more like the game's panic, yeah. Now, we don't see any fire on their heads, but we can fix that. And they're all dead. Rest in peace. Okay, let's start making some elemental sprites here. So we can put them up here with our other miscellaneous items. And for the fire, I just want to take the explosion effects here and just copy those. Looks like these are larger, so we'll need to space these out appropriately. Bakoom, exactly. Starts photorealistic explosion. one of those standard like After Effects like stock explosions. Boom. Those are so hilarious. Alright, and let's define a sprite for these. Okay, element particles. And say fire. As far as it says is... this should be horizontal, not vertically grouped. Because it's an animation. There we go. 896, that is an awkward number, but okay. Y is 256. Width and height are both 64. I'll set as half that, as usual. Frames, there are 3 frames. This should run pretty slow. Let's say like 3 frames per second. Particle, our element, particle, sprites. Element type. Sprite definition. Right, dot particles dot fire. There we go. Okay. So we're gonna spawn some element particle sprites. So we need a way to actually visualize this. Let's see. What's the best way to do this? I need some kind of state to represent the particles and something to spawn them. This is going to be tricky. Oh, well, we can draw it on the Pikmin easily enough. So for Pikmin, if Pikmin command type, Pikmin command type dot panic, element sprite, elements, particle sprites, command dot element, if element sprite, sprite. Okay, so at least the fire won't be visible, but now we should at least see Pikmin on fire. So we can start from there. Oh, we don't because I haven't updated the sprite sheet with our changes. There we go. Let me reload that. The Pikmin are currently exploding. That's kind of funny. Well, they're on fire. I think that is an appropriate reason to panic. Let's see. So for one, that needs to be positioned up at their stem. And then maybe they shouldn't go to the third frame? I don't know. It's not the best sprite for the job, but I'm lazy. Let's see, how many pixels up does that need to be? About 28. See how that looks. A little bit higher than that. They all spawned away from the base. I'll just reset. There we go. Alright, it's silly, but you know, if it works, it works. That's close enough for now. Okay, now we just need to draw the fire sprites on the actual flames. And that is something that is going to be very specific to the fiery bulb orbs Fiery blowhog. So we're just gonna have to have custom logic for that, is what it is. I'm just gonna copy and paste this code over because that's gonna be relevant. So if you're currently emitting, I'm gonna make the fiery bulbs so you can call them fiery blowhogs by mistake. Oh, we'll get there, I promise. See, do we have anything like this elsewhere? Doesn't look like it. This could probably be a utility function. Yeah, direction. Coordinates. Yep. There we go. There we go. Set of monster, it's E for entity here. Okay, we need extend ratio as well. Where's that? Here it is. Okay. So all this is to calculate the position of the line, the start and end points of it. We can condense this down a little bit to save space. There we go. Okay, and then let's draw one fire sprite every X number of pixels along the line. That's a decent way to do it. Let's see. Let's get the total distance. Yep, distance between x, y, and dx and dy. Okay. Let 0 is smaller than dist. I plus equals, let's say every 5 pixels, sure. Actually, probably more than that, every 8 pixels. Okay. Actually, we can do this simpler even. So all has the same starting point, the same offset, it's just length minus offset. Oh, that's kind of awkward. Should probably add offset to this logic. That's a little bit cleaner. Okay. Let me change that up here as well, just to make the logic easier. More consistent. There we go. And so start X, start Y, those are correct. DX should be something more like this. If X, Y. I should start at command offset, go to standard ratio times. Oh, that logic is still wrong. Dang it. It should be offset plus that. Yeah. There we go. Because the thing should always start at the offset and then extend out from there. This music's stressing me out. Dang. Okay. Times O plus length. Is that already correct? Yes, because we pre-multiply that there. Yeah, okay. So that's correct. See, the music if it's too stressful, yeah. As an option. See, this is the... Oh yeah, the Plasm Wraith music. That's right, the ones in the cave. That was really stressful, I remember that part. Okay. Okay, this should work. I think I got it now. E.x. E.x plus D.x times O plus I. Command offset. Yeah, because that essentially replaces that second part of the equation. That makes sense. Okay, there we go. Now we don't need that. Don't really need that either. Yeah, okay. Okay. This works. So we get the coordinates where we want to draw the fire sprite. Sure, we can grab that dynamically, why not? So now let's break them and continue. Edit command element. There we go. That's the one. Okay. Then we draw this dot x. I want to draw it at dx and dy. Yeah, those coordinates we just calculated. Music almost sounds more Monster Hunter than Pikmin. I like everyone with a similar era. Okay, now the only difference is the animation offset. Should be based on monster's animation offset plus I divided by like 32. I don't know, some arbitrary number. Okay. So let's give that a shot. Okay, it's not perfect, but we do see the fire extending from the blowhog. It just loops very quickly. Okay, what happens if we set it to only do the first 2 frames? There, it's a little bit ugly, but it's passable. Probably need to make some custom sprites for that eventually, but we now have a line of fire coming out from our fiery blowhogs. And the Pikmin catch fire and they freak out and then they die. So, mission accomplished. Now they're very lethal under the current design, which makes sense. But yeah, there we go. They are effectively implemented. Alright, before we sign off, I think I do want to wrap it up here, but I want to change the names of the redeems to clearly indicate that they come from this thing, so they're easier to clean up by hand. So I think Minecraft Fire would have been funnier? Probably, yeah. That's a fair point. I'll just see if I can go find some free, like, particle effects online. So instead of just using the name as is, let's say pick game in that title. Oh, what am I doing? Panic. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, yeah, creates that. That works. So now if I reset this... Yeah, it did set up a bunch of new redeems. So let me go delete the old ones. There we go. And spawn nectar, pluck all seeds, spawn dwarf bulwark, spawn bulwark.
Though not entirely satisfied,
the explorers managed to secure a modest supply of edible matter for their home planet.
Okay, there we go.
Yet still they wonder, can this handful of seeds really bring salvation?
And make sure that they're all still working.
Even if they carefully cultivate
Like all seeds, spawn nectar,
it may not be enough to support
on bulb orb,
the population. This thought
spawn dwarf bulb
hovers
orb.
over the explorers as they embark on their journey home. Along with their cargo, they carry with them a sense of
Yep, okay.
unease.
Cool, so all the redeems are still working, but now they say pick game, so you can tell where they came from.
And so the intrepid explorers succeed in securing a reasonable supply of
And all the
edible
Pikmin die,
planet.
catch fire and explode. Tragic.
If they carefully cultivate the seeds they've harvested, it just may bring salvation to the people of Kopai. However, if they once again squander their resources, salvation may...
They did eventually kill him, though. So, very, very lethal enemy,
will
but
decide whether history
not necessarily
is
guaranteed
itself.
extinction event. That's good. Are the red ones fireproof? Oh, yes! I forgot to implement that. Let's go ahead and do that real quick.
They complete their mission.
Red Pikmin are supposed to be fireproof.
After securing a bountiful supply of edible matter and learning the valuable lessons of planning and teamwork, the explorers are set
Imagine
to
implementing
become
that correctly.
saviors of their home planet. Under their guidance, the seeds they've recovered will be used to kick off a sustainable cycle of
Alright.
cultivation and harvesting.
Yep,
thus
Pikmin,
bringing new life
element,
to Kopai.
immunity.
However, one question remains. What was the cause of the accident that sent the SS Drake hurtling?
This trick I didn't play, but I vaguely remember from watching. Yes, you are correct. Surprised no one else commented on that, honestly, but
Accident, after all.
understandable. Okay. Simple, I wasn't paying attention and assumed it was already a thing. Well, there you go. Alright, this code is going to be a little messy, but is what it is. So, Pikmin color red. It's immune to element typed up fire. There we go. Unity map. Look it up by Pikmin's color. What's it complaining about? Element type. Okay, there we go. So currently we only have that one elemental immunity because we only have one element type, but now we got the code in there to be able to implement more later. So now when a monster is emitting, we need to exclude any Pikmin that are immune. So we get all Pikmin that are in range. And we also filter it by What am I doing? There we go. Const element. Yeah, we have 100 Pikmin on screen. Very hard to see the code. Okay, so we got all Pikmin that are in range that are not immune to the element. There we go. So welcome back, Carrick. Alright, unfortunately, I'm going to reset the game so I don't do anything too fun here in the next couple of seconds. I want to make sure that red Pikmin are now immune to dying to fire. Here we go. Yeah, so all the blue Pikmin there just died. The red Pikmin are all fine. Blue and yellow Pikmin are panicking. The red Pikmin are still there. They're attacking. Okay, so as long as you don't have all three or multiple elemental hazards at once, then you should be fine. So the other color will at least survive, so it won't be a total extinction. Okay, well there we go. Let's leave it there then. Nice, nice, nice. Also, we finished the OST, so that's also perfect timing. Okay, well there we go. Good progress, good progress. And we need to redeem to spawn these guys. Thankfully that's super easy to set up. Spawn fiery bull blacks, or blowhog. There we go. We already have a function for that. Yeah, good progress. Got a new enemy type implemented, and that required us to implement a bunch of new mechanics that didn't exist until now. But we made it all work. Okay, so let's go back and disable the initial blowhog spawns. I don't really need these initial pellet spawns either. So we got pellet poses for that. Yeah, okay. So let's lower this back down. Let's say 10 Pikmin of each color, maybe. To start out with. It's a good number. Yeah. Cool. Okay. So the game's in a good state. Hey, Nick. Welcome in. We're unfortunately just ending, but I appreciate you stopping by. Torturing this poor Pikmin. Yeah, it happens. Okay, we lost a bunch of Pikmin to fire, but we did still technically end up with more Pikmin than we started, it looks like. Fixed, I think, issues with one of your favorite games. Nice, congratulations. That's exciting. Oh, Inksy, I recognize them. I guess I'm not following them. I gotta drop a follow real quick while I'm thinking about it. That is most likely not who we'll be raiding today. Craft the World did crash your PC on startup. That's too bad. But we got it fixed though. Okay. Anyone that I regularly watch live right now? It doesn't look like it. Oh, Wishy's live actually. Let's give Wishy a raid. Doesn't happen very often. Akbar's live is pretty cool. Thanks. Fortunately, I won't be live for much longer, so that wouldn't be very much of a raid, would it? Alright, let's go say hi to Wishy. They're currently playing Darkwood. I haven't heard of that game. Looks like some kind of top-down survival game. Yep, thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. Yazoo, Carrick, Nick, Sugi, Hanukkah. Everyone else is lurking. Appreciate all of you. Thanks for stopping by. So I know stream schedule was a little bit weird because this was technically Sunday's stream that got moved. So we do have another stream again tomorrow. Regular Pikmin 4 stream. We're getting pretty close to the end of the post-game content, so I think we're probably wrapping up the game pretty soon. And after that, I might see if I can get Hey Pikmin to run, and we can play that. If not, we just play it for like one stream. If it's too frustrating, or if I can't get it to work, then we don't do it at all, I guess. And then we start planning out what our next marathon is going to be. So that'll be exciting. We'll pick a new game series. I'm leaning towards 3D Sonic games, but if other people have something they really want to see, I'll think about it. And then more Paper Mario on Friday, most likely. Pikmin again. No, I refuse. All right, well, hope to see y'all tomorrow. If not, I'll see you when I see you. Have a great week.